It's never a good idea to have your head stuck in the sand,
especially if you're in the middle of a railroad track. But the people who manage the New Mexico Rail Runner apparently don't see the runaway locomotive speeding straight at them. News 13's Kim Holland is on special assignment.
It's been blazing a trail through the heart of New Mexico for 4 years now. But the New Mexico Rail Runner could soon face a financial train wreck. Currently, the Rail Runner is propped up by federal and state funds. Mark your calendar. In just 1 year, the gravy train runs out. Federal funds are set to disappear. Looming financial problems haven't put the brakes on the Rail Runner.
If this is your station stop, please gather your belongings.
Spending more money to expand service.
Now arriving at the Kiowa station.
In March, it opened the Kiowa station on the land formerly known as the Santo Domingo Pueblo. That cost taxpayers $2.5 million.
I was surprised to hear that they were going to put one here.
In 2009, up popped the Zia station. It's the 4th station in Santa Fe County. It's still not open to the public. That's because there's a squabble between the city and the private landowner about the parking lot and road improvements.
Passengers would like to thank you for riding the New Mexico Rail Runner Express.
You might wonder why there are stations at Kiowa, Isleta, and near downtown Bernalillo. The 3 stops have the lowest ridership of the 12 stops. The Isleta stop has the lowest ridership. The parking lot is often empty.
This is your ticket. Just hang on to it for the rest of the ride.
Only about 30 people hop on board each day during the work week.
I'd say it's one of the less used stops.
Compare that to 1,000 riders a day during the work week who get on at the Albuquerque station, the busiest of the bunch. How much does ridership play into where a station's going to be built?
Well, ridership is one of the factors that we look at, but it's not the entire factor.
Dewey Cave, interim executive director for the Mid-Region Council of Governments, says there's not one criteria that determines where a stop is built. For example, even though there's a stop just a mile up the tracks at 550, the state constructed this downtown Bernalillo station to help revitalize the area.
How do you put a dollar limit on that investment to encourage revitalization? The
less used stops at Isleta and Kiowa were built as part of an agreement with the Pueblos.
The agreement is that for utilizing that right-of-way, we would provide service to your people.
Even though only a few people use the Kiowa stop, the people are passionate about keeping their transportation linked to Albuquerque and Santa Fe.
We need to get around some way. We can't just stay on the res because our resources are limited.
I use this every day for school and other purposes too, like taking my mom to her appointments in Santa Fe.
But should need outweigh the cost? Currently, fares only cover about 14% of the operating costs. Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway and Amtrak takes care of another 7%. Voters approved a gross receipts tax in 2008 that makes up more than half of the operating costs. The state covers 7%, and the remaining 18% is covered by federal money for now. But on July 1st, 2011, the Rail Runner is not expected to qualify for those federal funds. The expected loss, more than $4.5 million. What happens then to the funding when we lose these federal funds?
The state will have to determine another source of revenue.
Does that concern you at all?
What always concerns us whenever we're talking about these tight budget times.
It's like a giant shell game. Next July, the Rail Runner will not qualify for federal funds, but the state will continue to collect that money instead. It could use it for things like the general fund, Medicaid, or public education, but the Rail Runner's hoping they shuttle over state money to make up for the loss. Lawmakers could do that or leave them high and dry.
So we have a year to start trying to see how we're going to put this new puzzle together.
Sue Wilson Bedford sits on the Senate Finance Committee. She didn't support the Rail Runner when it was built, and today argues with shrinking budgets and money being stretched in all directions, money will have to be prioritized.
It is not going to be probably at the highest priority in terms of if we are in a big deficit, which we could be. So the legislature has a big job to see how they are going to manipulate monies from different programs.
With no guarantee from the state, the Rail Runner keeps chugging through taxpayers' money. The state purchased the land at Montano and the railroad tracks for a proposed stop and is currently doing studies on the area. Funding is not in place for station construction. And they don't have the money yet for a new station promised to be built on the Sandia Reservation. The potential lack of money doesn't seem to be concerning too many people. The Rail Runners director and lawmakers say they've got a year to figure it out before the federal funds reach the end of the line. Kim Holland, KRQE News 13.
Now, there is a move to change federal law so transportation like the Rail Runner could continue to use federal funds. But whether that happens remains to be seen.
Reminds me of that old